Hi, I'm Daniel Mahanty. This is today's CISA question. This is the kind of question you might expect to find in the actual CISA examination. Let's go over the question together. The most appropriate action for an IS auditor to take when shared user accounts are discovered is to A. Review audit logs for the IDs in question. B. Document the findings and explain the risk of using shared IDs. C. Request that the IDs be removed from the system. And D. Inform the audit committee of the potential issue. Now, first of all, let us understand what a shared user account is. A shared user account is when the same login credentials, the same user ID and password are being used by multiple people, more than one person. Maybe in a particular shift or in a particular department, a single user ID and password or a single user account is being used by multiple people, right? The question is the most appropriate action. When you find this, what are you going to do as an auditor? Which is the most appropriate thing that you should do as an auditor? So let's go over these one by one. Review the audit logs for the IDs in question. What will this tell us? This will tell us what kind of activity is being done under these audit logs. Maybe there is some violation of policy, maybe some irregular transactions are being put through. So, yes, that might be useful. The next is document the findings and explain the risk of using shared IDs. So, here as an auditor, what would we do? We will tell them, look, there is a risk involved in this. So, tell me, what is the primary risk of a shared user identity? You cannot trace the activity performed under a user account to an individual user. There are multiple users using the shared user ID. So one option is we document it and explain it to them. This is the risk involved. You can't figure out who has done what. C is request that the IDs be removed from the system. Yes, that is something we would do. And D, inform the audit committee of the potential issue. Now, usually, you can safely eliminate one or two options. Now, take a look at informing the audit committee of the potential issue. Is it too early to inform the audit committee? You'll put it in your report and ask them to do this. If it doesn't get done, then you may escalate it to the audit committee. At this stage where you have found it, this seems to be premature. We can safely rule it out. The question is the most appropriate action. Let's take a look at A. Review the audit logs for the IDs in question. Yes, you can do it. It will tell you what has been done, but does it really address the risk, right? B, document the finding and explain the risk of using shared IDs. As an auditor, you'll report this and say, look, this is the problem with this. This is the risk involved. C is request that the IDs be removed from the system. Even A, I would say, can be safely removed. So you're left with B and C, right? Which do you think is the most appropriate thing that you would do as an auditor, right? First, you have to explain the risk. You may also recommend that this should be removed. But the most important thing is that you should explain the risk. So the best answer is B. A shared user account results in what is called audit trail obscurity, which means multiple people are using the same ID. You cannot determine which action has been performed by which user. So, as an auditor, our job is to detect and document the findings, explain the risk involved, and then ask them to take appropriate action. So, the best answer is B.